Hey gamers, 2026 is almost here, and today I'm going to give you a top 25 new and upcoming roguelike or roguelite games that you must play later in 2026. Please not to worry about the ranking, these numbers just show each person's own list of most anticipated games. And yeah, who knows, you might discover a hidden gem you've never heard of before. Or maybe you can roast me in the comments if I missed yours. Before we go into the list, I want to say thank you to Galactic Glitch for sponsoring this video. Galactic Glitch is a space twin-stick roguelike shooter with physics-based combat. Once you start playing, you won't even notice the time passing because this game is super fun to play. In this game, you control a small spaceship across various biomes, throw asteroids, catch missile-like dodgeballs, destroy enemy ships and bosses, and let's be honest, the combat feels amazing. Every hit, every shot, every explosion, everything was so satisfying. Recently, the game got a major update that brought a ton of new content. You'll get new gameplay, new weapons, new upgrades, new prototypes, new bosses, and even permanent progress that keeps each playthrough interesting. And yes, this game keeps getting better and better, and replaying it never gets boring. What's even more exciting is that the game is currently 70% off, so this is definitely the perfect time to check it out before the discount ends. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Galactic Glitch by clicking the link in the description and experience the chaotic action roguelite that will blow your mind. Alright then, let's get back into the list. CRETE is an upcoming biopunk roguelike action that focuses on fast, tense combat and a heavy focus on co-op decision-making. The game revolves around fighting godlike ancestors and mutated biopunk creatures while pushing deeper into dangerous zones before deciding when to extract. Each run revolves around collecting DNA to mutate your body, weapons, and gear, leading to different builds every time. The extraction system adds constant risk, forcing you to decide whether to push forward or secure your progress. Co-op is clearly part of the core design. Playing with others isn't just about extra firepower, but about coordinating abilities, protecting teammates, and controlling zones together. Gang of Frogs is a co-op roguelite shooter where you control cloned mercenary frogs battling monsters in an 18th century cyberpunk universe. It blends third-person shooting, deck-building upgrades, and roguelite progression in 1 to 4 player sessions aboard a pirate ship hub. Shooting feels punchy with rewarding sound design and impactful upgrades like charge rifles that shred bosses. Deck-building adds replayability through card shops for grenades, shields, or fire rate boosts between rooms. So if you like Gunfire Reborn's roguelite FPS variety but prefer third-person co-op action, Gang of Frogs scratches that itch. Anomaly President is a roguelike action game with political satire in a cyberpunk world where you play a rebel fighting to topple a corrupt regime. The game splits its structure into 2 clear phases. During the day, you move around cities campaigning for support, holding rallies, traveling by bus, and using over-the-top actions to gain votes. You also recruit fluffies to handle propaganda, media control, and information gathering, adding a light strategic layer to the chaos. And at night, it shifts into full roguelike action. You fight through procedural levels using melee weapons, ranged tools, and anomaly-based powers, taking on gangs, officials, and bosses. Runs are short and repeatable, built around experimenting with different builds and approaches. DDoD is a gritty, top-down tactical roguelite shooter set in a deserted industrial wasteland teeming with mutants and strange anomalies. Ukrainian devs crafted a co-op gem where you can squad up solo, or with up to 3 friends to scavenge, mutate, and blast through procedurally generated runs against a rogue biological AI. The story centers on uncovering the source of the anomaly deep inside the abandoned zone. Feels like Stalker meets Fallout in pixelated chaos. Precise shooting rewards flanking and synergy, with bosses demanding squad tactics over button mashing. Co-op adds extra tension, and even though dying is punishing, it keeps you hooked with that irresistible just one more run feeling. 4 Loop is a 4-player co-op shooter built around teamwork, improvisation, and repeated runs. It places players in a sci-fi setting where squads interfere with an alien mining operation while working toward a central mothership threat. You will tackle escalating missions across 3 acts, making risky choices to upgrade gear and survive boss fights, with failure feeding into meta progression for replayability. Combat involves carrying down teammates, using items like blinkberries for teleports, and managing threats like enforcer beams in wide-open maps that demand coordination over linear paths. Overall, the game focuses on emergent co-op moments and squad-driven decisions in a sci-fi setting. Darklight Survivor is an action roguelike survival game set in a fractured cyberpunk multiverse, where you play as a dark hunter traveling aboard the Phantom train in search of Elysium. Each run sends you into unstable worlds filled with hostile creatures and limited chances to survive. Combat shifts between top-down tactical views and close-up third-person action, keeping fights adaptable and tense. Progression centers on weapon and gear customization, mixing futuristic tech with unexpected aesthetics, while the option to switch between cinematic visuals and retro pixel mode changes the game's overall feel. Warhammer Survivors is an upcoming fast-paced roguelite survivors game set in the Warhammer universes. It draws heavy inspiration from Vampire Survivors, featuring characters from both Warhammer 40,000 and Warhammer Age of Sigmar, battling endless enemy hordes. The core loop follows the familiar Survivors template. Pick a character, collect and upgrade weapons and items during a run, and survive escalating waves of enemies until defeat. Then use meta progression to unlock more options for future runs. For roguelite players, it offers the addictive short-run loop of Vampire Survivors, but with Warhammer's iconic weapons and enemies, which can refresh the formula for fans of both genres. Z. The Zodiac is an upcoming roguelike hack-and-slash action RPG inspired by Eastern mythology, centered on fast combat and repeated trials. You fight through shifting realms, using chain attacks, time-slowing dodges, and cooldown-based abilities inside procedurally generated arenas. The game supports solo play and online co-op for up to 4 players, with enemy scaling that keeps team coordination important. Progression revolves around gaining divine powers and resisting Zodiac temptations as you push toward becoming the 13th Zodiac Guardian. If you enjoy skill-driven combat and replayable runs, this is one worth keeping on your radar. TerraTech Legion is a roguelite spin-off from the TerraTech series, blending modular vehicle building with Bullet Heaven-style survival combat against rogue AI mechs. You play as a lone tech jockey, scavenging parts from fallen enemies to construct machines of war. The core gameplay is survive wave after wave of robotic hordes, dismantle Legion factories, and push back their planetary overlords. Meta progression unlocks new parts, corporate factions, and strategies over multiple attempts. Weapon placement matters as many turrets fire directionally, encouraging tactical builds. Saros is roguelike retains the intense third-person shooter DNA of Returnal, but removes everything that used to disrupt the gameplay. If Returnal was about pressure and survival, Saros feels more focused on momentum. The game is fast-paced, aggressive third-person shooter that wants you moving non-stop with less friction between you and the action. One of the biggest changes is the removal of active reload. Instead of stopping your flow with a mistimed reload, Saros introduces a shield system that encourages staying in the fight. Holding the shield absorbs incoming projectiles and turns that danger into fuel for powerful alt-fire attacks. It's a simple idea, but it shifts the rhythm of combat into something more forward-pushing and less about waiting for cooldowns. Nevergrave the Witch and the Curse is a 2D action game that mixes Metroidvania structure with roguelike progression. It's all about exploring changing dungeons and adapting as you go. One of the main mechanics is the Cursed Hat, which lets you possess enemies and use their abilities. This changes how you move, fight, and reach new areas. Between runs, materials collected in dungeons can be used to rebuild a village, make food and potions, and prepare for the next adventure. And the game also supports up to 4-player co-op, so dungeons can be cleared together with friends. Before we go into the list, I want to tell you about my favorite place to buy games, and that's Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an awesome site for grabbing games at great prices. Not only they always have fantastic discounts, but also they running giveaways you won't want to miss. Seriously, these deals are hard to beat. Where else are you going to find prices this good? Why pay full price when you can grab the same game for way less, right? Yeah, you can shop for games on all kinds of platforms, like PC, PS5, Xbox, and a Nintendo Switch. There are also numerous convenient products to enhance your gaming experience, such as subscriptions, gift cards, and many more. No worries, it's 100% legit, fast, and super easy to use, and their support team is available 24/7. So what are you waiting for? Go check out your favorite games by using the link in the description below and start saving your cash with Instant Gaming. And by using my link, you're not just getting awesome deals, but also supporting this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. Voidbreaker is a fast-paced sci-fi roguelike FPS, takes place inside a massive AI-controlled simulation where humans are used as combat data. You jump into repeated runs through randomly generated arenas, fighting robotic enemies and strange digital threats. You die, you restart, and you slowly unlock permanent upgrades and new tools that make the next run feel different. Each run offers mods with different rarities that affect movement, weapons, and abilities. Some make you faster, some add elemental effects like ice or electricity, and others completely change how your gun behaves. Shops appear randomly during runs, while long-term upgrades live back at your cyber apartment hub, which becomes a quick stop before jumping right back in. Lost Castle 2 is an excellent follow-up to a hidden gem of a roguelike with amazing mechanics, build-changing items, and some really cool enemy designs. The side-scrolling brawler style might remind you of Castle Crashers, while the weapon system leans closer to something like Monster Hunter, where each weapon type has its own rhythm and rules. Combat is the main reason Lost Castle 2 works as well as it does. Weapons have unique mechanics, and special abilities can change how attacks flow during a fight. So if you've been getting the co-op roguelike itch and don't know where to turn, then Lost Castle 2 is the game you've been waiting for. Another beat-em-up with a roguelike is Rotwood. It's a co-op brawler built around quick runs, simple controls, and constant movement, and it works well both solo and with friends. After a short time, the combat flow starts to feel natural, especially once dodging, heavy attacks, and basic combos click together. And with roguelike structure, you move through connected 2.5D areas, clear enemies, and pick up small upgrades that slowly stack into something more impactful. Each run asks you to survive an entire biome in one go, including a mini-boss and a boss with limited healing, so paying attention matters even if the controls are easy to grasp. With more content planned over time and a low entry price right now, Rotwood comes across as a solid co-op action game that's easy to jump into. Windblown is an action roguelike, the studio behind Dead Cells, and it delivers fast, stylish combat wrapped in a smooth roguelike loop. It supports solo play and co-op for up to 3 people, either with friends or via online matchmaking, and it's already very approachable in its current early access state. Movement is one of Windblown's strongest aspects. Dashing around the map feels responsive and fluid, and combat flows quickly from one encounter to the next. During a run, you can collect temporary buffs called gifts. There are dozens of them available, and you can only equip a limited number at once, which encourages experimentation. Sometimes the combinations line up perfectly, sometimes they don't, but that randomness is a big part of the roguelike structure. Witchfire is an early access roguelike FPS that mixes dark fantasy, gunplay, and extraction. The setting drops you into an alternate history where witches have nearly wiped out humanity. You play as a prayer, a masked witch hunter empowered by magic and forbidden rituals. Gunplay is the core of the experience. Each run sends you into a map to collect loot, complete objectives, and find a way out through portals. Escaping is the only way to keep what you've earned. Combat focuses on positioning, stamina management, and targeting weak points. Customization is also a big part of why the loop. Weapons and spells unlock new traits through use, encouraging experimentation across multiple runs. Chained Beasts is an indie roguelike set inside a coliseum. You will play as beast-like fighters forced to battle waves of enemies for a shot at freedom. It's a strange mix of gladiator fantasy and animal brawler, and it works better than you might expect. Most of the fighting is melee focused, but you can also grab objects to throw or even toss your current weapon using the right stick. In solo play, the experience is more about managing space and using the chain creatively, while co-op introduces a more chaotic but coordinated feel, especially with up to 4 fighters linked together. It brings back that classic co-op brawler energy where teamwork is necessary even when instincts say otherwise. Enter the Gungeon. 2 expands the original genre blend of twin-stick shooting and roguelike dungeon crawling into a fully 3-dimensional space. The shift to 3D changes how the Gungeon is explored. Levels are still procedurally generated and unpredictable, but verticality adds new ways to move, dodge, and control fights. Enemies can be knocked into hazards, arenas feel more open, and positioning matters more than before. Runs are still built around grabbing random weapons and items, letting synergies form naturally as things stack together over time. Some familiar Gungeoneers return, joined by new faces, each bringing slight differences in starting tools or abilities. It keeps runs feeling distinct without overcomplicating the setup. Morbid Metal is a hack-and-slash action roguelite that's all about momentum, style, and just feeling smooth while you play. The big hook is that you don't play as just one character. You start with Flux, a fast, blade-focused fighter, but as you progress, you unlock more characters and can switch between them instantly during a run. You can bring up to 4 into a single run, each with their own attacks, abilities, and ultimates. Each character sticks to a clear structure: basic attacks, 2 abilities, and an ultimate. Nothing feels overloaded. You can chain abilities between characters to build style and keep fights moving, but the game doesn't demand perfect execution. You mostly react, experiment, and keep going. Tears of Metal is a hack-and-slash roguelike that drops you into large medieval battles, clearly inspired by Braveheart vibes and Musou-style action like Dynasty Warriors. You play as a Scottish warrior trying to reclaim your island after a mysterious invasion, leading a small group of fighters into fights against massive enemy forces. The combination of Musou-style combat and roguelike elements will make this game highly replayable and never gets boring. Each run lets you explore a good chunk of the island, and the more destruction you cause, the more the game responds by throwing tougher enemies, captain units, and defensive objectives your way. There's also online co-op for up to 4 players, which fits the idea of chaotic battlefield brawls with friends. Rogue Soulstone is a 3D action roguelite RPG where you use powerful soulstones to fight huge waves of enemies inside destructible void arenas. The game focuses on fast, physics-based combat or sent flying with ragdoll effects, making every fight feel chaotic and fun. Instead of fully automated combat, you actively aim your spells and attacks, similar to games like Risk of Rain 2. Each hero plays differently, and your spells interact with both enemies and the environment. You can also play solo or team up with friends in co-op, where the physics-based combat and ragdoll chaos get even more ridiculous. VOIN is a first-person fantasy action game that mixes hack-and-slash combat that combines Souls-like and roguelite mechanics. It blends fast, chaotic hack-and-slash action with more careful, Souls-like decision-making. It's tough, unforgiving, and designed to test your patience. But if you enjoy learning through failure, it can be incredibly rewarding. The story and writing are a bit mixed. They do a good job building atmosphere and selling the dark fantasy tone. Visually also looks impressive for a solo-developed early access game. The gritty Unreal Engine visuals and strong sound design help sell the brutal tone, even if the music mostly stays in the background. Tenjutsu is a speedy action beat-em-up created by Sebastian Bernard, one of the designers behind Dead Cells. You will play as a renegade Yakuza who turns against her former allies to take back control of the city. 4 powerful crime syndicates rule the streets, and you can challenge them in any order you choose. The game focuses on fast brawling, chaining attacks together, and using a wide range of weapons and martial arts techniques. It blends classic beat-em-up action with roguelike elements, letting you build your character through upgrades, new moves, and gear that fit your playstyle. However, there's pressure to keep moving forward. The longer you prepare, the stronger your enemies become. Killer Bean is an upcoming open-world action roguelite that lets you play as a tough gun-wielding bean assassin in a world that changes every time you start a new run. The story is simple. After being betrayed by the Shadow Agency, Killer Bean sets out to take them down for good. Gameplay looks chaotic. You can fight enemies using guns in both first-person and third-person views. Throw them around with wrestling-style moves, blow them up with rockets, or even run them over with your car. The open world also changes with every new single-player run. Physics play a big role too, with plenty of ragdoll effects and environmental destruction that add to the comedy and chaos. And if you enjoy silly but action-packed roguelites with lots of freedom, this one is definitely worth keeping an eye on. Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core is the upcoming roguelite spin-off of the popular co-op shooter from Ghost Ship Games, and it's already one of the most anticipated games of 2026. At its core, Rogue Core takes the familiar Deep Rock Galactic formula and adds roguelite progression. As always, teamwork is key, and the game is designed to be played with friends. The latest teaser revealed a new 5th class called Retcon, featuring a powerful time rewind ability that lets players return to a previous position to escape danger or flank enemies. If you're already a fan of Deep Rock Galactic, Rogue Core looks like a smart evolution of the series rather than a replacement. It keeps the classic co-op chaos while adding more replayability and experimentation through its roguelite structure. And that's it for today. Those were lists the top 25 new and upcoming roguelike or roguelite games that you must play later in 2026. Got a hidden gem I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or discovered a new title to add to your collection, feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss future content. And once again, don't forget to wish list the game Galactic Glitch, the link in the description. Alright then, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.